Hi, Jessie Nebulous here, and we're going to be creating a crystal or a gem, whatever you want to call it. These are the tools, and I will list them in the description box below. And you start off, you just by making a basic shape. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. In fact, I find the asymmetrical ones to be more interesting to look at. And then from the corners of your shape, you just draw out these little lines. That's all this is. It's lines and gradients. It's very simple. And then you just connect your lines with more lines, as seen here. And you don't have to use a ruler. It doesn't have to be exact. I just use a ruler because I have an unsteady hand. And it just makes it a lot easier on me to use a ruler. Okay, next you want to take an eraser. I prefer a kneaded eraser. And you want to just get up some of that excess graphite so it's not muddying up your colored pencil. Next, you just take your colored pencils. You want probably 3 to 4. I pick 4. I was going to go with purple, changed my mind, decided to go with blue. And you're going to want a dark, a medium, and a light. Those are the colors you want. Okay, and starting with the lightest color, you're going to color in the middle shape, just a base wash of the whole shape. Coloring very lightly because you want to be able to build up layers, so you have to start with light pressure. And you just want to make a nice wash. Next, you take your medium shade, the next darkest shade, and begin in gradient. And you do that by just starting a little bit a ways up the bottom of the shape and then continuing to the top, as seen here. Again, light pressure. And then you move up to the next shade, continuing the gradient, up to the top. And lastly, you've got your darkest color, and you're just filling in that top area. And if you're saying to yourself, that gradient doesn't look that smooth, well, you are not wrong, which is why we are going back over the whole thing with the lightest color. It's going to smooth it out. It's going to blend it out and make it nice and pretty. Now you can move on to the next step, or if you want to give it some more depth, go back in and do the process again, which I will do here for the middle shape. I won't do that for the smaller shapes around it. It's just the middle shape is the biggest, so it needs some oomph. So I wanted it to have some depth. So, just coloring along, making sure. And I should say, this is not the only way to do crystals or gems, of course. This is just the way that I like to do it. So there are other ways, and I'm not saying which ones are better, but for me, this is the one I prefer. Okay, so then you go to your next shape, and again, you do just a light wash of the lightest color, and you repeat the process. And it doesn't matter where you start with the gradient, right here. It will with the next shape. When we move on to the next shape, we want to start the gradient in a specific order. And we will get that to that in just a moment after we blend this out. And we also want to keep our pencil sharp. That's how you get good coverage. It's very important in colored pencils. So again, light wash of the whole shape. And then you want to start the gradient so that the lightest part of this shape meets the darkest part of the last shape. Yes, the light meets the dark. And I hope that makes sense between what I explained and the video. I hope it does make sense. It's what creates that really cool look. Okay, we're just moving along, coloring, sharpening our pencils as needed. See, there it goes. And using light pressure so you can build up layers so that you can build your crystal or gem. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I'm sure there's a difference. Someone out there knows the information that would explain the difference. Honestly, and I could be wrong on this, but what I think is that all gems are crystals, but not all crystals are gems. And I don't know how you tell the difference. I just know there is a difference. So, and you continue along. And as you can see, the video is sped up because originally it was 19 minutes long, and ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody. So I decided to speed it up, even though it makes it a little bit harder to do a voiceover. I thought about putting music in, but the video's almost over anyway. I'll just babble. Okay, you just continue. You continue, as we have for the rest of the gem crystal, and filling in your gradient, because that's all it is. It is lines and gradients and blending, and that's it. Even though it looks more complicated than it is, it looks really cool. I love it. And I go back in because I decided I wanted a little more depth in that base shape, that middle shape. So went back in. You can always go back in if you start light. Okay, and I'm taking my white jelly roller. That's a new addition to my tool set, and I really like it. You could also use like an acrylic paint pen, or if you don't have one, what you could probably do is while you're coloring, just preserve some white in the paper, just a little strip in between the pieces to use as your highlight. So you see I'm just going along the lines, creating a highlight. And I think just for a final touch, I'm going to add a little bit of black along the side for shadow. Just a little more shading. And then that will be it. And that is our crystal. It looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And it's quite simple when you break it down, and it's a lot of fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I have videos Fridays at noon, so please check back, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Bye!